Welcome to the Brandon and Ryan Hour, the show for movies, television, entertainment reviews, and commentary. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Ryan. And today is our spoiler filled review of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, starring
Yay!
people such as Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller Bridge, and making a surprise appearance by Antonio Banderas.
I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see him in the movie for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it took me 4 minutes to figure out that was him. Anyway, we'll get there. But, so we are going to be talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
And
Very
obviously, in depth with spoilers.
many spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen it and don't want to hear the spoilers, plug your ears because we're going to talk about the spoilers.
Or go watch our spoiler free review that was posted yesterday.
Or go watch the movie, or go watch our spoiler free review, go watch the movie, and then come back and listen to our spiel and our thoughts. Yes. All right. So, the long awaited fifth installment of the Indiana Jones saga.
Was it really long
What,
awaited?
39 years after the first one? No. Yes? No? What the heck?
I don't know. I'm not going to do math. That's not
Yeah.
why I came here.
Are you sure?
It is. I am
Okay.
completely sure.
42 years.
Fantastic. I'm glad you know how to use a calculator.
I didn't use calculator.
Uh huh.
Smart. Anyway, now that everybody's gone and nobody's watching, um, well, okay. Initial thoughts are kind of all over the place. So, like we were saying in our spoiler-free review, I did not know how to process what I saw and how I felt after the movie. It was weird.
Mm
And I don't think that's my fault.
hmm. No, definitely not. The movie was kind of all over the place. I did feel very kind of depressed, just like melancholy after the movie, after watching it. But it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. So I wasn't angry, but
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it at the same time. I mean,
So the opening, what?
there were some good parts of the movie, but
Yeah.
overall, not the greatest film ever made.
No. Um. So I guess the original three. It's for me. It's Crusade, um, Raiders,
Raiders.
and then Temple of Doom.
Okay.
Um, I don't. I don't know. I kind of the fourth one and the Temple of Doom are kind of tied because there's some things about the fourth one that I hate, some things I like. The Temple of Doom is just kind of middle of the road all the way through.
All right. I disagree with you, but that's fine. I enjoyed Temple of
Um,
Doom. I'll accept the monkey brain scene. Did not enjoy that.
See, that's a scene I like.
I did not.
Well, anyway, we're not here to talk about that one. So, the opening sequence seemed like a regular Indiana Jones opening sequence,
Yeah, all except with horrible CGI.
except for the CGI.
Yeah,
Everything,
it's fascinating that movies decades ago had better special effects using practical things
yeah.
than
If you actually drive a
CGI.
motorcycle down a road, it doesn't look fake.
Yeah,
As opposed to having it sit in front of a green screen.
like it just The CGI
Yeah.
looked bad at
Like they
the
could
first opening, but
like like back in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s when they would have like the the projector behind the
behind the
car in a
car.
studio and there'd be some guy shaking the car and they'd be fake driving.
Hmm.
Like sometimes that's better than CGI that we get
Yeah,
now.
that is
Um
100% fair.
I think they did a good job with Harrison Ford's face,
Okay.
but they couldn't fix his voice.
Yeah.
His voice is not the same as it was 40 years ago. Now he has an old man raspy voice.
Right. It's a little more
So
gravelly. Yeah.
yeah, so it sounds like, the World War II Jones of the 40s, um, you know, picked up a horrible smoking habit after the crusade. Because this was what 40, 45, 46?
Oh, when the movie first opened?
Yeah, it's 45,
Sure.
44.
I have no idea. I
Whenever
didn't
the
pay that
war
close
ended, because it
attention.
said Hitler was hiding, and they were
No,
in
it said
Berlin.
Hitler was dead.
No, because they were taking the stuff to Hitler. He said he was in hiding, and they had entered Berlin. It was the end of the war.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, other than the CGI, I liked the opening sequence.
Yeah, it actually seemed like part of an Indiana Jones movie where he's on an adventure to go get an item, a MacGuffin,
Yeah,
even though the
treasure.
item ended up being fake.
I like that though. That was he's like, oh, this is fake, and then he used it to lock them in the train.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that it was the spear that pierced Jesus' side on the cross. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, they got the cup, the Ark of the Covenant, and the spear,
And they're going
but
after
the
the
spear's
spear.
fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was, it's good stuff. The
And I mean the guy, Toby Jones, who played Basil Shaw, I felt like he had good. Him and Harrison Ford played well off each other. They had good on-screen chemistry.
Yeah, I mean Harrison Ford just has good on-screen chemistry. Anyway, so yeah, that whole sequence, I enjoyed it, except the CGI was just kind of. I just wanted some practical effects.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to have a train.
To have a what?
A train.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they had a train in every movie. No, not Temple of Doom. I don't remember a train in Temple of Doom.
Okay.
Irregardless. So, that's when they find the
half of the Dial of Destiny, or the Archimedes dial, or whatever they called it.
Yeah, they had some name for it that they stopped calling it because it was hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where to go after that because it just goes downhill quick after that.
Yeah, so it opens back up like after that sequence. It opens with old man Indiana Jones, who is a bum.
Well, he wasn't a bum.
Yes, he was. He was completely a bum. Because in the last movie, at the ending of it, he's got his family, he gets married, and he's set up for a happy life. This one, they just completely destroyed that to make him an old, pathetic loser living in his house who drinks too much, who's got to get up, throw some bourbon in his coffee to even get up the muster to go to work.
Okay. Thing that irritated me, I don't know. It's like, why? I don't know. It just didn't make any sense. Because you're just killing. You're like, when he gets up out of the chair and he's in his boxers, and you're like, this guy's about to die.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is on his last leg, and he's just gonna. He's living in some apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and it. So, I don't know how long ago. Probably when I heard about the movie first coming out. I was like, they're gonna go one of two ways, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna go one way, and that's they're gonna kill off his son, which is the stupidest way to go. But the whole splitting up from Marion
Mm-hmm.
makes no sense. So you come in, he's in his boxers, wakes up in the morning to loud music. Of course, I would probably be pissed off about that too. Right. I gotta go to work, and then, so that part was fine, but I don't know. They just made him an old man. Obviously, he is, but it's just not the.
But it wasn't the story that you set out, or that they set out with the last movie. Like, we want our heroes to go enjoy their life, things to go well for them, not trash them. And I mean, they did the same thing with Harrison Ford's character, Han Solo, in Star Wars. Hey, he split up from his wife, and now he's a loser out in the fringes of space again.
And then they do all this stuff off camera.
Right.
So you can't experience the trauma that the hero feels. Then you just have to be sad, and then you have to come back up. But I don't know, it's always a better story when you go down with the hero and then come back up with him.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they totally just, I don't know. They didn't care. That's like, whoever wrote the story did not care about Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Which is sad, because they should have cared about Indiana Jones. So yeah, he hates his job. He works at some college teaching ancient history or whatever.
No, it was still archaeology. He was still teaching archaeology, but...
Okay, they were talking about history or something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, he started by talking about how to identify some specific era.
Oh, yeah. He was talking about artifacts, how to identify artifacts. And then they started talking about history. Okay. And he's in New York?
Yeah, he was in New York.
Which, okay. That's something.
And it was a big switch from his teaching style from the first few movies to now. Because before, he was clearly enthused about it, and they made a big deal about how all the students wanted to hear from him like he's a superstar. But now he's not, and nobody cares about him. Nobody's paying attention in his class.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody did anything. Nobody cared. And
which seems like such a shift. Like, how do you go from everybody knowing who you are and being excited to your class to
to nothing?
We're just here.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. So it gets going quickly, which I guess is good. Helena shows up and starts reminiscing and trying to recruit him to go after the dial that they supposedly lost in the river, which she knew was false.
Right.
So that didn't make any sense. She knows it's false. He knows it's false. They both know that they both know it's false. I don't understand. And then he takes her to her anyway.
Yeah.
He takes her to it anyway.
So he takes her to it, gives it to her, like shows her it, hands it to her, and basically said, "This was your dad's," and he asked me to keep it safe for him. And it seemed like he was passing it off to her, and then he gets upset when she takes it, which I didn't understand that.
I don't think he was passing it off to her.
That's what it seemed like.
I don't think so. Not to me.
Okay.
Just seemed like he was showing it to her to show her that it was real. But I don't think his intention was to give it to him. Give it to her.
I think it was because it was her dad's, and he was just holding it for him. So it felt like he was passing it on to her because she was interested in it. That's the read that I got. I could be wrong.
I think you're wrong on that. That's not the impression I got. I don't think they had a plan though. So it was probably just poor writing.
Yeah, so that's when Nazis show up and try to
not yet.
or kill.
That's when the CIA shows up. They didn't talk about them at all. But the CIA
There was
should
one
know who
CIA
Jones
person.
is.
Yeah, there was one CIA person. The rest were clearly Nazis.
No.
Yeah.
The guy with the crutch was her boss.
Okay. He could have still been a Nazi and working with the CIA or working for the CIA.
I don't think they knew they were Nazis. They didn't even know his real name.
Right, but it still doesn't change the fact that a lot of the people who went to confront and steal the dial were Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Working for the CIA.
Sure. Working with the CIA, but not for. They clearly had their own motivation.
It doesn't mean they're not working with them.
Right, you said
it's
for.
It's called a double cross.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Still working for them. Make any sense. Gotta argue about it. Anyway. Yeah, so then they just kill 2 innocent people at the school.
Mm-hmm.
And at least 2, might have been more. But then they don't shoot Jones or Helena.
Right.
Was it Helena or Helena?
I think it was Helena. I think it was Helena.
Yeah, like Helena of Troy or whatever. I don't know what.
Yeah, so
anyway.
The Nazis and CIA show up, try to get it back from them. She runs off and just leaves them, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm going to leave you to die now," and runs off.
Yeah. All she had to do was open the door. They both could have ran off. I don't understand.
Yeah, but apparently she's a horrible person, so.
She was pissing me off for like 95% of the time she was on screen.
Yeah.
Pissing me off. Every time she just opened her mouth, I'm like, why is he putting up with this bullcrap? Oh, because he's a white knight. But anyway. Yeah, so then you get the chase sequence, which is okay. The horse chase through the train thing is a little over the top.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see a horse again, but
okay.
Barely missing getting hit by 2 trains. And I didn't get, why didn't the guy driving the second train that was coming behind them stop?
Why didn't he put on the brakes? Right.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm just going to honk my horn and maybe this stupid guy on a horse will get out of my way.
Yeah.
Anyway. Nah, I got a schedule to keep running this horse over. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so eventually both Indiana Jones and Helena get away separately from each other. And for some reason, it didn't make any sense in the story Indiana Jones thinks that he's going to be framed for murder because the Nazis had killed people in the school. And he's like, I was there, so they're going to accuse me of murder. Like, everybody just made that logical leap for no reason.
I didn't get that either. Well, no, it was because he was running.
It doesn't matter. He was kidnapped.
Not after he got away.
Yeah, but he didn't have to run. He could have gone directly to the police and told them what happened. Hey, I was at the school. People showed up. People were dead. They kidnapped me from the school. I escaped. Here I am.
And you think the CIA is going to be like, yeah, we kidnapped him. We totally kidnapped him and he got away. Can we have him back now? He didn't kill those people. We did.
The Nazis killed those people, but sure.
Under the banner
I
of
know.
the CIA.
Okay, I'm just giving you a hard time, but
I know.
it didn't make sense. Like, why run when you didn't do anything? And like everybody, oh, police think he killed people, but there was no scene where the police were trying to collect evidence and were like, oh, this professor did it. Like nothing,
It's the
just
60s, dude. Nobody's collecting evidence.
they collected evidence, not to the same standard that we do now, but they
What
would
are
have
they
collected.
collecting from that crime scene?
Bodies, bullets.
What bullets?
What?
What are they going to do with the bullets? They weren't doing ballistic analysis in the 60s.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. Not anything. They'd be like, oh, this is a brass casing. So is this. Must have been that guy.
Yeah, but there's also the entire room of artifacts that got destroyed when Indiana Jones knocked over
Technically,
shelves
Jones did
upon
that.
shelves. Yeah. But like all of this is stuff that he could have explained, and they could have said, hey, look, everything he's saying lines up with what we've seen.
Yeah, but then he would have had to spend all that time trying to explain everything to the cops, and he had to go get the artifact back.
It didn't make sense why he wanted the artifact back. He thought it was a useless piece of, like, he didn't think it did anything. It was just half of something.
Yes, he.
No, he said that it was just a trinket. He didn't think that it was important.
He said that about everything.
Okay.
And this is the one thing he didn't put in a museum. Why do you think he didn't put this in a museum? Because he's seen things and he's like, something is odd about this because
he told his friend
is losing his mind and sending me all these postcards and letters with all these random facts about this thing. And
yeah, but he told his friend he was going to destroy it. So if he goes and puts it into a museum, his friend sees it. Oh, he didn't destroy it.
Right. Why would he tell him he was going to destroy it and then not destroy it if it's just some random trinket?
I don't know. Because the screenwriters are horrible at setting up tension?
Yeah, probably. But I think the implication there was that he thought there was more to this than just some ordinary historical find.
Okay.
And they even kind of get there when he's talking up to Helena, and he's like, I don't believe in whatever magic, yeah. But there's been some things in my life that I've seen that I can't explain.
Which that doesn't make any sense at all. Like he's seen all kinds of stuff, including voodoo magic. So
yeah, it doesn't mean he can explain it. He can't explain the voodoo magic. He can't explain the Ark of the Covenant. He can't explain 8 interdimensional beings. He can't explain these things.
Yeah, but he's still seen it, and he can believe that it happened and that it's real. But saying I don't believe in magic when you've literally seen voodoo magic, that makes no sense.
Yeah, I think that what he's saying is, I don't believe in like unexplainable things, right? Magic is people being like, oh, I can, I don't know, turn you into a frog from magic. But I think what they're trying to get at with Jones is that he doesn't believe in just straight magic. He believes in things that can be explained. So there has to be scientific explanations for how these things work. He just he just doesn't understand them clearly.
Okay. But then his follow-up line, or the end of that quote, It just depends on how hard you believe in something. Makes no sense.
That yeah, I don't understand that either. That's just bad
But
writing.
anyway,
And I'm not just talking about from this movie. I'm saying this stuff from like over the course of the 5 movies. This is what I'm gathering from how Jones talks about things and does things. Not talking like this movie is explaining all of this.
yeah. So then he goes to where did they
Hold
go?
on. Well, okay. So you have a fun part with the opening sequence. Then you have a sad part learning about Jones. You have kind of a fun part with the escape scene. And then he calls Sala to pick him up. And I'm like, when I saw the previews, I was like, yes, Sala's in the movie. And then Sala shows up in a taxi. He's a
Mm-hmm.
cab driver in New York. He looks run down.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
He lives in a little bitty apartment.
he lives in a small
with
apartment. I can't tell if
his
he lives there with his
grandchildren.
kids and grandchildren or not.
It looks like the grandkids live there.
Yeah. It's like, okay. And then I'm like, wait, why is he there? And then he says that Jones brought them over before the war.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, that's cool. Brings them over before the war. And then now he's a taxi driver. Like, why are they making these people's lives so sad? Like, Sala's old enough to be retired. Should just be retired. And like, I don't know. They just made it seem just not fun.
Okay.
Like, because you're sad for Jones, and now you're kind of sad for Sala, and he wants to go, but Jones is like, no, because you're old. Like, he's not.
Right.
And I was like, no, he's supposed to go help. That's what Sala does. He helps. I was so mad. I was so mad about that because I like John Davies.
Yeah, me too.
It's always so much fun. Every time in the other movies, he's always fun. This movie, no fun. So, yeah, so that, I guess, I didn't like that part with Sala. Then they get on the plane, and then I got pissed off because they're on the plane. The camera's on the plane while the plane is flying. And he's doing things on the plane.
Okay.
While the plane is flying. That's not how travel works.
Travel works in Indiana Jones movies.
Indiana Jones. You get on the plane takes off.
Yes, cut to the map with a line, with a plane flying with a line coming behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was so pissed off. That's the part of the movie I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. This is gonna be my restroom break because I'm pissed off now. Why are they doing this? They have a template. Why are you messing with it? But then later, they get on a boat and then they do the map line thing.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have to do this for every travel sequence. You do the map line thing for every travel sequence. Stupid people. Yeah, anyway. Bothered me quite a bit.
You don't say. I couldn't tell.
So then Helena, his goddaughter, is trying to sell this thing at some market or
some
auction?
Casino. Yeah, an auction inside of a casino.
Black market antiquities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure, that's fun. All right. And then Jones shows up and tries to get the thing, and the Nazis are there, and there's another chase sequence, which is kind of good. And then her fiance shows up and is trying to kill them, but not trying to kill them. He's very conflicted, which was kind of funny. I didn't hate that part, but I don't know. I hated her. That's who I hated. I like the boyfriend, the fiance, but not her.
Yeah, but when they're at the casino and the Nazis show up, one of the worst lines of the entire movie happened, where the Nazi tells Jones, "You stole this artifact from me," and he's like, "Yeah, and she stole it from me," and she's like, or something. Basically, you stole it
from them.
And she's like, "Yeah, that's what capitalism is." And I'm like, "I don't think you understand what capitalism means. That is not a definition by any stretch of the imagination of what capitalism truly is."
You literally just explained theft.
Right.
Which is not capitalism. Yeah, it's so stupid. Like,
but yeah, so chase scene, and then for some reason Indiana Jones decides to help Helena to go get the artifact back because he wants to take it back and hide it, I guess.
What do you mean help her?
Like, he decides to go on the adventure with her to go reclaim the item. To go reclaim half of the dial.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it bothered me. Like, he had no clear motivation on why he was even interested in the item at all.
Well, it's his goddaughter. First off. Second off, is one of his good friends. And he obviously thinks there's something else going on with the dial. There's more to meets the eye with this dial, with this artifact.
The artifact is not a transformer. Like, there is nothing more than meets the eye.
Huh?
It is not a transformer. There's no more than meets the eye. You're using the wrong quote from the wrong movie franchise.
I'm not using a quote from a movie.
Okay.
It's a saying. It's older than Transformers.
I know. I was making a joke.
It's a bad joke. You need to work on your delivery.
You're a bad joke.
You should start laughing after you tell the joke, not before you tell the joke.
Okay.
See, like I did.
Anyway.
And he's old and doesn't have anything better to do. He just retired. So. And he hates Nazis.
Didn't make sense because he retired in the middle of the school year. Because in his class, he said this is going to be on the final. And then he retires before the end of the school year.
Unless the final was next week. But I don't know.
Yeah, so half the dial is missing. It's been stolen by Nazis. And then they decide to go try to find the tablet to where the other half is. So they go.
Oh yeah, they had to find
someone who can help them dive, like scuba dive down to the bottom of the ocean. So it's like, hey, I know a guy.
Because she knew about what was in the diaries about it being
right.
Part of the ship being deeper. Yeah.
So they go meet up with Antonio Banderas' character to go retrieve this tablet or whatever that is supposed to have instructions on how to get to the other half. Because now they need the other half to keep the Nazis from finding it.
Yes.
Yeah. So they get on a boat with Antonio Banderas. They make Helena a complete perv, checking out every guy that she sees and talking about how promising they are because they're half naked.
I thought it was one guy. It was one guy.
This was the first time. She did it again later in the movie.
Did she?
She did.
I don't remember.
Yeah, so they go diving. Um, they've got 3 minutes to get down and get back up before they get sick from being at the bottom of the ocean or something.
Yeah, before they get the bends.
Okay.
You don't know about diving?
I don't. Apparently, I'm not a diver. I don't know how long you have to be down before you get sick from it. Like, I'm pretty sure if you go down for a minute, it's no different than if you go down for 3 minutes, coming back up as
It
fast as they
depends on
did.
your rate of descent and ascent.
Okay. Well,
The
they
faster
obviously.
the faster you go down, the less amount of time you can stay up, according to the thing, because the pressure, nitrogen in your blood, oxygen in your blood, I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. They just have a 3 minute time limit, and first try, they find exactly what they're looking for. Never been in this boat before, but you got 3 minutes to drop down to the ocean floor, find something. They do it first time.
I mean, that's how it always is. They always find
Yeah.
exactly what they're looking for.
I was saying it's a little unrealistic. Like if they would have
It's
had to go
Indiana
down,
Jones. How's that part supposed to be realistic?
I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense.
They were in the library in Crusaders for all of 5 minutes before they found X marks the spot. Punch a hole, go down in there, and find exactly what they were looking for. They just walked
Okay.
straight to it.
Well, I
That's
guess I'm
what
just.
happens in these movies.
I don't know. It irritated me, but maybe I'm just getting cranky with modern movies.
I guess maybe you're turning into old Grandpa Jones over there.
Maybe.
um.
But yeah, so they find it no
Uh.
problem. Helena just kind of starts to abandon him again, where he's going to get eaten by ills, and he's got to fight him off, being an 80-year-old.
I don't know if she abandoned him.
She just left. Like, she saw him with all those ills coming out, and she swam outside the boat instead of trying to help him. And then didn't come back.
She had.
I don't know.
Okay, it's because from my perspective on that, what happened was because they went in different entrances and they're tethered to the boat. She can't just swim in one hole and swim out another. She got to go in the hole she came out of. So she had to go to the hole that he came into to help him get out.
Okay. Seemed like
If you
she
want
was
to talk about
abandoning him
reality,
again.
that's what had to happen.
It seemed like she was just abandoning him again.
But then
to
she
die.
showed up and pulled him out of the hole.
Yeah.
So she had to go out of her hole to go into his hole. That sounds
Okay.
weird. I'm not going to say that ever again.
I guess that makes sense. But
Anyway, so yeah, they find the thing they're looking for. Antonio Banderas gets shot.
well,
The
they
Nazis
get back to
show
the
up.
surface. Nazis show up.
They translate the tablet for the Nazis, and then they escape the Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
And they steal the Nazis' boat. And then, and she's got this kid with her. Did they say how old he was?
I want to say it was like 13, 14. I don't know if they actually said it in the movie.
I missed his introduction, so I didn't know if they said. Anyway, so the kid, what the heck was his name? Teddy.
It was Teddy.
They're celebrating because they found the thing, and he's like, "My friend just got murdered."
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, that kind of sucks." But then 2 seconds later, he's like melting the wax on the thing and finding the real artifact that tells him where to go, and then they head off towards it. So, I mean, he's had a lot of friends die. But yes, Antonio Banderas, like, did you know that was him when he showed up? Or were you like, is that Antonio Banderas?
Like, when they first met on the dock, I didn't, because it was so dark. Like, the entire scene was dark. But when they got on the boat the next morning, it was like, oh, hey, that's Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they only had him for a few days, because his part in the movie was very short.
Very short, yeah. Anyway, but he's in this, like, the top billing.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Okay. Okay, they get on the boat. They go to where did they go?
Somewhere in Greece. I forget
Somewhere
where
in
they went.
Greece. The ear of whatever.
Dionysius.
Yeah,
Dionysius.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
So they stop by some
This is
city.
where we get the explanation, or not where, but we forgot about the explanation about why on the boat when he's telling Helena like everything that's gone wrong. We get a little bit of why he's alone in an apartment, why Marion is not there,
Yeah.
and what
Whatever.
happened to his. Or we hear. Did we hear about his son earlier?
No, this was the first time that I remember.
I think there was something when on the TV when he was standing in front of one of the windows, and there was something on the TV about because they were talking about him on the news.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and that's when they said it. But then on the boat, he says that
If he
his
could go back
son
in time, it would be to stop his son from
from
joining.
enlisting.
Right.
Yeah, which you're like okay, and then but his whole spiel there was so quick and like, oh, my son died, and my wife is sad, and I'm sad, and now we are
And
getting
I
a
can't do
divorce.
anything to help her, so we're getting
Yeah, like,
divorced.
what
Yeah.
are you talking about? You can't do anything to help her. Like, first off, why did they have to kill him? And why do they have to make you both? Like, he at this point, he would be well into his 30s.
Mm-hmm.
They're in their 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
I guess 70s if he's in his 30s. I don't know. Whatever. But like, how do they not know how to deal with this? It makes no sense. And
I
then,
don't know,
but
dude.
the part that like actually didn't hate when he was like, did he enlist to make you proud? And he's like, no, he did it to piss me off.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's kind of funny, but yeah. So there's so many different things they could have done with that, but they didn't, and now they ruined it. Why are they so afraid to recast?
I don't know.
Everybody's afraid to recast now.
But they even could have gotten Shia LaBeouf back. Like, I understand that nobody.
I don't know if he would have done it.
You offer him money, he's going to show up.
I don't know. He's in a way different place mentally these days.
I'm saying people show up for money. You pay him enough, he would have shown up.
I guess, but I don't know. I don't know. I think he's probably pissed off too many people at Disney.
That's fair. That's fair.
And they hold grudges.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about their audience. So they don't care. So, okay. Anyway. Nothing really happens. Like, I don't know. They go to the place.
The Teddy kid wanders off, gets kidnapped by the Nazis again.
Yeah.
And then they got to go track him, or instead of going to find him, they go to retrieve the artifact before they get there. Yeah, so Teddy knew where they were going, and they assumed that he'd tell them. So they had to go get the artifact right away.
Yeah.
Instead of going to save this kid that Helena had said that she spent the last 5 years with and cares about.
Right.
So instead of mounting a rescue, hey, everything will work out. It's fine.
I don't know. I didn't hate it because they were going to the same place anyway. Because it didn't make any sense why they needed to get the artifact before the Nazis, because the Nazis, there's way more Nazis with guns than there are Indiana Joneses with whips. So you knew that he's going to find it and they're going to take it from him.
Right.
So it's just what's going to happen.
Which is exactly what happens. They get there, find it.
They find the tomb of Archimedes?
Yep.
Yeah.
And on his skeleton, they have he's his skeleton has the other half of the dial.
Mhm.
Nazis show up, take that, put it together.
Well, you're forgetting that he has a watch,
Okay.
and that his coffin had a eagle with propellers on it.
It
So they
was a
assumed-
phoenix, not
Or
an eagle.
phoenix.
A phoenix.
Yeah. Sorry, I like eagles more than. So they assumed
Yes.
he was time traveling.
Right.
Yeah. So then the Nazis get it, and Jones gets shot again,
Mm-hmm.
and
In the chest. Gets shot in the
shoulder.
chest. It was in the chest. It was
upper
like here.
chest, shoulder area.
Well, it was like the right side, but he clearly got shot through the
This is
chest.
left side.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah. They make it out to be some fatal wound, like he's going to die. But then he
He's been
survives
shot
for another. He
was
survives for
bleeding
another
out.
hours. Like, I don't know how much longer in movie time it was, but it was like hours. They had to go somewhere, get a plane.
Yeah. Where did they go? I don't even remember where they went, but they had to go somewhere, steal a plane.
I don't think they stole it. I think that they owned it.
Why'd they shoot the guard?
That
makes
because they
no
were dressed
sense.
in Nazi attire.
But you think he'd be in on it? There's a Nazi plane in the hangar. Like,
right?
Why did they have to shoot him? I thought this was their place.
Yeah.
That made no
I have
sense.
no idea.
No witnesses. We're going back in time. There could be no witnesses.
Yeah. So the entire point, the main Nazi guy wants to go back and kill Hitler because Hitler was bad for
Hitler's
the
one who lost
Nazis.
the war.
Yeah.
So he can correct all of Hitler's mistakes.
I guess.
So you got a Nazi wanting to go back in time to kill Hitler. That's new. That's new.
Yeah.
I'll have to give him that. I didn't see that coming. So the only thing that didn't make sense was why the thing that sent them back in time was in the air.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That
because they wanted to fly planes, I guess.
Huh?
Because they wanted to fly planes, I guess.
I guess. So, and then Helena and Teddy follow them, and then she tells Teddy to go steal a plane.
Mm-hmm.
But she says it like like he knows how to fly. But then he's like, I don't know how to fly.
No, he said he's never flown a plane.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this was when you left to the bathroom, but when we first see him, he's guarding the auction, and he's talking to somebody who's clearly a pilot, and he's got a little makeshift airplane cockpit set up, and he's talking to the guy about how to fly. So it looks like that was something that he'd been trying to learn without actually being on a plane.
Okay, because I was like, why would she tell him to go fly a plane if he's never flown a plane before, been in a cockpit? Like, I don't. Okay, that makes sense. So he steals a plane, and then they're flying through this storm and this portal in the sky that's going to take them back in time to.
Well, they thought it was going to take them back to 1938.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it took them back to 200 BC.
Yeah. And the whole scene when they first show up and the battle is going on between the Romans and the Greeks didn't make sense why the planes were flying so dadgum low. You were in a flippin' plane.
Why?
They're shooting catapults and giant arrows at you. Just move up out of their range.
Those things cannot have that much range and altitude.
Yeah.
They were flying low.
Yeah, they were flying super low.
If I'm flying...
And they never pulled up. That's all you had to do. Huh?
If I'm flying a plane and I'm expecting to see Nazi Germany and I see, you know,
Greece,
Greece and sailboats and
catapults.
trebuchets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I think we're in the wrong place. I'm just gonna make the executive decision to turn this boat around and
Yeah.
go back home, and we'll figure out how to get back to 1938 another day.
Yeah.
But and then they just start shooting at the Romans or
They were
everybody.
shooting at
Really.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah,
But flying
makes
super low,
no sense.
like maybe 50, 70 feet off the water is where they were flying. For no reason.
For no reason. But why are they shooting at them?
Again, I don't know. I guess Nazis
First
just
off,
like killing people.
there were thousands of soldiers,
Mm-hmm.
like hundreds of boats, thousands of soldiers. They didn't have enough ammo to shoot everybody. It's
Right.
not like they're winning this war. And it isn't even where they wanted to be in the first place. So why are they shooting at them?
I guess because Nazis like killing people.
That made no sense. And then the pilot's like, we can't make it back.
Yeah, because they took 2 giant arrows
Why can't you
to
make
the
it back?
airplane. I don't know, dude.
I don't know. Anyway, so
Nazis.
Helena's on the plane.
Yeah.
And then they parachute out.
Yep. Because
And
Nazi
then the
plane
plane
is
crashes.
going to crash. They parachute out. Or
How did
Harrison Ford.
Did we see how the main Nazi died?
He died in the crash. So, like, they showed Archimedes go over and see his dead body and takes his watch off of him. So he was just dead already on impact.
That's no fun. They always show you, like all the other movies show you when the bad guy dies.
Okay.
That was something I hadn't thought about from the first 3 movies to the 4 and 5, was that the first 3 movies had elements of horror in them.
Okay.
But 4 and 5 didn't.
That's fair.
Probably because Disney owns them now.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a observation that I made.
Yeah, so then Archimedes goes and talks to Indiana Jones and Helena, who both speak ancient Greek for some reason.
They're historians.
Like, there's never been any reference to Indiana Jones knowing ancient Greek.
He knows tons of languages.
Never comes up in the movies.
I mean, he knows like Middle Eastern languages. He knows South American languages. He knows.
I don't think they ever showed him speaking it, though.
What?
I don't think they ever showed it in the other movies, him speaking anything other than English.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't recall right now.
But yeah, so anyway, they can both speak Greek to Archimedes. And like ancient Greek, not
ancient Greek. Yeah.
Not like
BC Greek.
Right. So Archimedes basically said that he built the Dial of Destiny to bring people back to help him win this war.
To help him win the war?
Yeah.
So the dial only goes one place.
Yeah.
And the only people who've ever time traveled are a handful of Nazis, Indiana Jones, his goddaughter.
Mm-hmm. And Teddy, and the guy in the other plane.
Teddy. And the guy who just happened to be sleeping in the plane. Forgot about him.
Yeah. But yeah, so
yeah.
Helena,
he wants to stay?
Helena says, no, we've got to go back. We can't help you change history. And Harrison Ford's like, no, I want to stay.
Yeah.
And then
Why
she
do
just
you want to stay?
I don't know.
He's literally bleeding to death, and he's like, nah, I'll stay. I'm going to help. I'm going to learn all this stuff about ancient Greece and teach them how to find artifacts.
Yeah.
Like, what's he going to teach them?
I don't know.
I mean, he's smart, but anyway. Yeah, so she's got to like try to convince him.
She tries, and then he keeps saying, no, I'm staying. So then she just cold cocks this 70, 80-year-old guy for no reason, and then somehow gets him back home.
Who's been shot?
Yeah.
Well, Teddy and the other guy showed up.
Yeah, but how? I don't know.
Like, Teddy and the other guy showed up, Like, because they only had minutes, right? They said we only have minutes to get back through the portal.
Yeah, but
But they had to land.
who
get them in the
got him
plane.
back on the plane?
Teddy and
Like,
the
because
pilot?
Archimedes
Archimedes?
he was asking for people to help them in this war. So why would he
Yeah,
help
but
her
she
load
convinced
this
him
guy?
that he was smart enough to win it himself.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just punch, knockout, fade to black,
Yeah.
wake up at home.
And then, oh, now we're back in the present time.
Yeah, and the dial's just sitting right there.
Yeah.
So in theory, they could go back again.
Yeah, if they can find another time fisher or whatever.
Right, they just gotta find the time fisher, which apparently there are many because
This thing predicts them. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so he's just I don't know. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
The Nazis die, which is good.
Uh-huh.
The artifact is still in his possession, which is odd. That doesn't happen in any other movie.
Yeah.
He never gets to keep the artifacts.
Right. And then also the spear is there as well. With no explanation. Yeah. So the spear that they were after at the very beginning of the movie
Yeah.
is sitting right next to the dial.
Was it?
When he wakes up. Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
But then doesn't
They're
make any
just putting
sense.
stuff in the movie that and giving it no context, which makes no sense.
Uh-huh. But yeah, then Marion shows back up at the very end. And they had one of the creepiest on-screen romance scenes. Like, I don't want to see
It wasn't
I don't want to see two 70-year-olds making out. Like that. It's weird and creepy.
They were trying to go back to the first movie with that. But like, come on. Come on. You don't think they like all right. They were apart for many, many years, but they've been together for many, many years.
Uh-huh.
You don't think they have done this as a married couple already? They've done this. They've done this. This is weird. And and now they're okay. Like the divorce papers were there, but now they're okay because he got shot again.
I don't know.
All right, next time you get into an argument with your wife and she wants to divorce you, just go get shot. And
yeah, I guess that's all it takes.
And threaten to go back to 200 BC and hang out with Archimedes, and maybe she'll come back to you.
Maybe. Yeah, so that is.
Then they did the hat thing again.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like, you can't. It's over. It's over. So, Indiana Jones is essentially dead. There's no one to pick up the fedora and carry on.
Unless they make Helena do it, which would
have to be a
horrible
spin-off.
mistake.
It wouldn't be a Jones.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't know. I don't see.
Jones' legacy is dead.
Yeah, I don't see a good movie happening with Helena as the lead. Because
no,
I don't know, that actress just does not seem very likable or
not at all
good.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't hate her performance. I just hated the character. That's what was pissing me off was the character because she was conniving, lying, just in it for the money, which and it's even though she hasn't seen her Godfather in years, like she's just trying to extort him, even though he's going through a really hard time. He's getting divorced and lost his son, and she's still trying to just in it for the money.
Yeah.
It's just pissing me off, like the whole time. Up until the end where she was like, no, you can't stay. And then she knocks him out. And I'm like, he taught her the punch. He taught her the one punch knockout.
But all right, so that pretty much covers all of the movie, filled with spoilers. So, what are your closing thoughts on it?
there were parts of the movie that I enjoyed, but the overall feel of the movie is very melancholy because there's this cloud hanging over the whole movie of him being extremely old now, basically physically incapable of doing the things he's doing. Um, his wife is gone, his son is gone, he's got no legacy, he's got no family anymore. Most of his friends are dead. He's just an old man. They could have called this Indiana Jones and the nursing home. Like,
Okay.
is that the next movie? Is that movie 6? So I did like the Dial
MacGuffin
MacGuffin.
storyline.
Yeah. I did enjoy that way more than the Crystal Skull and the stupid intergalactical aliens.
Okay.
Or dimensional aliens. But the feel of the movie is just a downer. And even at the end, even though it's kind of a happy ending, it's still sad. Because it's the end of Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And it's not like he went out on a high note.
Right. He went, like, his son is still dead, which is terrible. And him and his wife, their relationship is strained.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, I don't know, like, even if everything that he finds needs to go into a museum, I feel like Indiana Jones should have lots of money.
Yeah, because they said in the first 3 movies that when he brings artifacts back, the museum pays him for what he's done.
Yeah.
And he's been a professor for decades.
Right.
So
and
he shouldn't be living in some
government.
tiny...
He was a spy. He was,
Yeah.
All over the world. And I don't know. Sure. You take the Ark of the Covenant and you put it in a museum. All the other gold, you don't stick that in a museum. You're like, I'll take some of this.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
But you don't expect him to end up in a little tiny 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, in crappy part of New York.
Yeah.
With his family destroyed. That's what pisses me off. Like, there's no... They had an opportunity to either try to get Shia LaBeouf back or recast.
Mm-hmm. Or just he was off doing something else. Like, you didn't have to kill off the character.
Right. But they could have passed it, like, if they recast, like, he's just there. There's a guy there. He's my son. And then this is it, right? This is the end of the Dial of Destiny. This is my last hurrah. Give him the hat.
Mm-hmm.
And then Disney has something to work with that they can turn into the next generation's Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Because at this point, they're only up to the 60s in the Indiana Jones timeline.
69, so technically...
Okay, 70. But they still
70s.
have, like, years and, like, there's, 70s, 80s, 90s. There's decades and decades where they could, do things.
Right.
So, I don't know. I'm having a hard time deciding. It's in the bottom 2. There's some parts that are better than 4, some parts that are way worse than 4, but the whole overall vibe and feel of the movie is just a downer.
Yep, I agree with you. But yeah, and in our spoiler-free review yesterday, I said I don't think it's worth seeing in theaters. I think you can wait to catch it on cable, or if you're on a plane flight and you're stuck with nothing to watch and it's there, you could watch it, but I don't think it's worth spending $20-$30 at the movies for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you should go watch it in the theaters and then don't ever watch it again. If you're only going to watch it once, then go watch it in the theaters and then be done with it. That's
Or
probably
catch
what
it
I'm
for
gonna
free
do.
later.
Why?
Yeah, so you
No
don't have to
point.
pay for it.
Yeah, but why watch it at that point?
Okay,
2 years from now, nobody's ever going to watch this movie again.
that's fair. But yeah, so if you guys made it this far into the show, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, leave comments down below on what you thought about the movie, or what you would do differently, how you would retire Indiana Jones if you were in charge.
I like that he got shot 10 times, though. It's a nice round number.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're also on Rumble, so you can check us out over there as well. And Mondays when we do our movie reviews. Thursdays are series or some other form of entertainment review, and then Sundays when we try to do our no spoiler review. And anything else?
No, that's pretty much all of it.
Let us know what you want us to review next, and where you think this movie falls in the Indiana Jones saga. With that, check you guys next time. Later.